West Berlin was a zone, right, controlled by the French, the Americans, and the British. As a student, we traveled to Berlin frequently. To some extent, it felt like an island.
To me, the wall was ever present, and it was to me an almost daily thought of injustice, and I don't want to be stuck behind this wall.
So I was in school when the wall fell. I was a pioneer. I was very proud to be a pioneer, and I was very happy when I got to wear my uniform.
Of course, we know about all those escape attempts, but when you think about it, these were maybe a few hundred at the most.
I remember watching what we called Sandmännchen, so it's a TV show, and we all watched it before going to bed.
What was much more interesting as I grew older, I was watching some of their political commentary, and it was really fascinating to watch our day-to-day television that wasn't all focused obviously on East Germany, but about how we saw the world. And then East Germany had a lot of focus on the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc, and we were the class enemy, and you know, it was the same language, but it was a very, very different world.
We were watching a press conference. It was in the East, and the East German Interior Minister was asked if the holes being knocked in the wall meant the wall was coming down. He really didn't have any authority to give the answer that he did, but he said yes. When he said that, that word spread like wildfire, and the West German youth stormed the wall. The East German youth saw what was going on from their side. They did the same thing. And the East German troops that were there with their rifles, thank God they didn't shoot. They didn't know what to do.
Disbelief for starters, right? And then a moment for celebration for this country that, as long as I remembered, had as its #1 goal to reunite.
Everyone that I could think of was ecstatic, except maybe the secret police that knew what was coming.
I'm glad I was there before it came down, but I'm also happy that it came down because that was just an untenable situation, even though I sympathized with the East Germans that were trying to achieve some sort of an alternative, because the West German system was not perfect either.
Und nach langer Zeit haben die gesagt, die Mauer, die physikalische Mauer war weg, aber es gab immer noch eine Mauer in den Köpfen der Menschen. Es war immer noch ganz lange, bist du vom Osten, bist du vom Westen. Das war eine Ungleichheit in Gehältern. Selbst staatliche Angestellte haben im Osten nur 80% vom Gehalt bekommen, das die gleichen Leute im Westen bekommen haben.
I remember going to a big toy store, Toys R Us, right? For the first time, I had never been in a toy store before. And now it's like the sea of just pink everywhere, and Barbies and Barbie-mobiles and Legos and up to the ceiling. And I don't think I've ever saw pink before.
The thing that I remember was that all of a sudden there were a bunch of East German cars called Trabants all over the place. And you could tell that they were East German because they looked like they had been designed in, 1955 or so.
My father was on the list. So imagine, people were waiting for 20 years to get a car, and now you just see them dumped everywhere.
When I came back to the States, the first thing my father asked me, he says, "Where's my piece of the wall?" I said, "What?" We didn't know how important it was to the people back here. So I called my brother and said, "Hey, guess what? Back in the States, they want a piece of the wall." So yeah, we got a piece of the wall.
Okay, it turned out by pure coincidence, we were in Berlin the day that the Brandenburg Gate opened. I had to be one of the Mauerspechte, one of the people that picked at the wall, and I brought it home with me. And it has an honorary place at home because it's a big symbol of freedom and a big symbol of the nation that I grew up in.
We should really think of it in the complexity and of everything that led up to it and everything that happened after. Especially after 30 years, we should really have a little bit more of a complex picture of the situation.
It showed me that if you set a goal, either for yourself or for your nation, that this is one of our top priorities, it may take, in this case, decades. It may take months or years. But if you keep working at it, you might just be able to change history.
The things that separate us have impacts not only while it's happening. I mean, it's been 30 years. Yeah, I'm 38 years old. Like, I was a child when it happened, and I still get teary-eyed and feel it deep in my bones. And it happened in my lifetime, and it's still happening for a lot of people, right? And it's happening in the U.S. and with the borders that separate people from their families, and in many different ways. So I think a discussion about walls is always relevant and important.